All right, everyone, back at the lake. I'm going to be continuing the strategy that I started last week. First playable hand is about an hour into the session. I look down at Ace Jack 10-9, single suited in middle position in a straddle pot. I limp, late position limper, bolt of blinds call, straddler checks, and we're going 5 ways to a flop. Well comes Jack 9-3 with 2 clubs. Checks to me, I bet 50 and only 1 late position caller, so we're going heads up to a turn. The turn brings a 7, I check, my opponent bets 100, I push as I don't really believe him, and he makes the call. We agree to run it twice, so we're going to 2 rivers. First river brings an ace of clubs, bringing in the front door flush. Second river brings an ace of diamonds, now improving me to a better 2 pair. I turn over my hand, and my opponent turns over king 7, 5, 3, so he made the flush on the top, and we're going to win the bottom with a better 2 pair than his. Shortly after the previous hand, I look down at Ace 6-5, single suited in the big blind in a straddle pot. There's an early position open to 40. Next player makes it 80, folds to me. I go ahead and push. Both players end up pushing behind, and we're going 3 ways to 2 runouts as we agree to run it twice. First board brings king, queen, 9 with 2 hearts. Turn brings a queen. River brings a 7 of hearts, bringing in the front door flush. Second board brings 8-6-2 with 2 clubs. Turn brings in the front door flush with a king of clubs. River pairs the board with another 6, improving us to trips. I didn't get it on camera, but the early position player shows Jack 10-9-2, so he made the flush on the bottom. And the next position player showed Ace Jack 7-4, so he made the flush on the top, and they're gonna chop up my money. Early after the previous hand, I looked down at Ace 9, 8-5 double suited in middle position. There's an early position limp. I limp. Next player makes it 20, 6 callers to me, and I also call, so we're going 8 ways to a flop. Well comes Ace 9-5 rainbow, checks to me, I bet 160, folds to a late position player who repots it. Everyone folds to me, I of course call in, and we're going heads up to 2 runouts. First turn brings an 8, giving us 4 pair. River brings a 5, improving us to a full house. Second turn brings a jack of spades, giving us a backdoor flush draw. River brings a 2. My opponent turns over 9-9-6-3, so he flopped middle set, and he's going to scoop. The very next hand, I look down at King, King, Jack 9 double suited under the gun. I limp, folds to a late position player who makes it 25. The button and bolt of blinds call to me. I pot it to 150, and there are 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes Ace 7-6 rainbow. Obviously not a great flop here, but considering the SPR and me having a bunch of backdoor draws, I thought it was enough for me to go ahead and push, so that's what I do. The original raiser thinks a little bit. He looks like he's going to fold, but then he goes from folding to pushing over the top, and the button gets out of the way. So same opponent that beat me in the 2 previous hands, we're going to 2 runouts. First turn brings an 8 of hearts, giving us now a backdoor straight draw and flush draw. River brings a 3. Second turn brings a 10, now giving us 2 backdoor straight draws. River brings a 4, and my opponent turns over 8-6-5-3, so he flopped a pair with an open-ended, and he's going to scoop me once again. After that hand, I sit out for a hand just to kind of get a breather and maybe make my money last a little longer. Next hand I get dealt, I look down at King, King, Queen, Queen, single suited in the big blind. There's an under the gun open at 20. 4 callers over to me. I make it 140, and there are 3 callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes Ace Jack 2 rainbow. I push over to the same opponent who stacked me the 2 previous hand. He goes ahead and repushes over to a late position player who tanks for a while and ends up folding, and me and the opponent are once again going to 2 runouts. First runout brings a 6 on the turn and an 8 on the river, so no improvement for me. Second runout brings a queen on the turn and a 10 on the river, so giving us the nuts straight on the bottom. I turn over my hand. My opponent turns over Jack, Jack 10-8, so me and him are going to chop it up. So we're moving on up here. About 30 minutes after the previous hand, I look down at Ace 8-7-2 double suited in the cutoff in a straddled pot. There are a couple limpers to me. I limp, button also limps. Over to the small blind who makes it 65 total. 2 callers to me, I call, and the button calls, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9-8-4 with 2 hearts. The original raiser pots it. Over to the player to my right who pushes all in for less. I of course push as well. Back to the original raiser who makes the call. We agree to run it twice, so we're going to 2 runouts. First runout brings a 5 of spades on the turn. River brings a jack of spades. Second runout brings a king of clubs on the turn. River brings a 5 of hearts. So the player to my right turns over his hand. He has King Jack 9-6 with the King High flush. I didn't get the small blind's hand on camera, but he had 9-10 Jack Queen. So the early position player and me are going to chop it up. Just wanted to take a quick second to remind everyone of the meetup game that I'm hosting next month at Hustler. It's September 24th from 1 to 7. I had them lower the blinds to $1, $2, $5 bring-in and $100 to $500 buy-in. We already have 30 names on the list, so we should have a really good turnout. It's going to be a great way to learn the game, especially if you're a Hold'em player and, you're looking for a very, cheap yet fun way to get into it. This is your chance. So definitely look forward to seeing you guys out there. I go card dead for about 2 hours until I look down at ace, queen, 9-6, double suited in the cutoff in a straddled pot. There's one limper to me. I limp, both blinds complete, straddler checks, and we're going 5 ways to a flop. Up comes queen, 6-3 rainbow. Small blind bets 35, one caller to me. I make it 190, and both players call, so we're going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings another 6, both my opponents check to me. I push, small blind folds over to the middle position player who makes the call, so we're going heads up to a river. River brings an ace, I show, and we're good, so taking it down here. Here look down at queen, jack, 10-8, double suited in the small blind in a straddled pot. There's an early position raised to 30. One caller to me, I call, and the straddler calls, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace, 10-8 with 2 spades. Now this is a hand I would consider betting if there wasn't 2 spades out there, but as such, I believe it's more of a check call, so I check with the intention of calling any bet, but all my opponents check back, so we're still going 4 ways to a turn. Turn brings a king, I bet 125, and all my opponents fold, so we take it down. This hand's about 30 minutes after the previous one. I look down at king, queen, 10-9, single suited in the big blind. There's an early position open at 15, 3 callers to me, and I call, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack, 8-2 rainbow. Checks to me, I check over to the original raiser who bets 40. Folds to the small blind who calls, and I also call, so we're going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 6 of spades, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. I check, the original raiser bets 210, small blind calls over to me. So in the moment, I was trying to think about what my opponents could have here. One of them could certainly have a similar type straight draw to me, but I only have the 10 of spades, so it is going to be pretty likely that one of them does have the flush draw now, which reduces the number of outs that I have to my straight. So for those reasons, I decide to fold, and they end up going heads up to a river. River brought a 10. The small blind checked over to the original raiser who checked back. He turned over jack, 7-7. The small blind ended up turning over his hand before mucking. He showed ace, king, 2-2. So he had bottom set and turned enough flush draw. So the original raiser is going to take it down. Shortly after the previous hand, I looked down at king, jack, 3, single suited on the button in a straddled pot. Folds to the middle position player who makes it 40. Player to his right calls, I call, and the straddler calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes ace, king, 7 with 2 spades. Checks over to me. I bet 130. Folds to the original raiser who calls, and the other player behind him calls as well. So we're going 3 ways to a turn. The turn brings a 2. The original raiser now looks like he wants to bet, and he decides on 550. Player to his right folds over to me. So this player and I have played against each other for many years. He was actually in the games up at Commerce when I first started playing PLO, so we know each other pretty well. He's a player who doesn't really tilt. He's usually a pretty big winner in any game he plays. So I don't really think he's kind of messing around here for those reasons, along with the fact that the player to his right is a huge calling station. And I just kind of thought in the moment that he might have a hand such as top set with, say, a queen high flush draw, where he just flopped so big that he just didn't really care to let a card come off, almost kind of a stop and go play. So for all those reasons, I decided to fold here. Let me know what you guys think about that. Early after the previous hand, I looked down at ace, king, 9-8, single suited in middle position in a straddled pot. I limp. Next player makes it 50. There are 3 callers to me, and I also call. So we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 3-2-2 with 2 clubs. Checks to me. I bet 165. Just a bet trying to get over pairs to fold their hands, and everyone folds, so we take it down. Shortly after the previous hand, one of the players at the table suggests that we do a death flip, which is essentially a $100 open hand where there's going to be no betting after that, and the winner of the hand is going to have to leave the table, meaning one of the players from the must move game would join this game. So I agree, and we're doing a $100 death flip 9 ways. Board runs out jack, 8-4. Turn brings a 5 of diamonds, bringing the backdoor flush draw. River brings an ace. Normally we like to turn over our hands one card at a time, but one of the players turns over pocket aces, so now we know what we have to beat, and now I'm just going to let the audio play.
Oh, wow. 2, 3, or 6, 7.
Oh,
What the fuck?
Oh, well, I got a 6.
We got a 9.
I have.
Here's a 6.
Oh wait, I could have a 3.
I got a 3.
I don't know if I wanted 7.
I need a deuce.
A pair of 4s.
Who's got a deuce?
I have a deuce.
Oh, deuce.
Oh, he's got the wheel.
Death flip.
And he has to get it.
You guys probably wanted me up anyway.
Wait, slow roll, 6, 7?
No.
See ya, Wayne. See ya.
He's like, see ya. I'm out.
Nice playing with you.
Nice playing with you guys.
So as per the rules of the death flip, I now have to rack up. I played for a little bit over 6.5 hours in total.
What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 1,200, out for 1,597, so profit of 397. If you haven't already done so, check out the previous video. I'll link it up here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.